She accidentally destroyed my late mom's wedding dress. The scent of old roses and vanilla clung faintly to the fabric. I used to bury my face in the folds of it when I was little, imagining what it had looked like on her. My mother, radiant, walking down the aisle in the only dress she'd ever truly cherished. The gown wasn't fancy by today's standards. Its lace had yellowed slightly, and the tiny pearls that lined the sleeves were loosening one by one. But to me, it was sacred. It was all I had left that still smelled like her, felt like her, held a trace of her laughter. When Mom passed away 6 years ago, I wrapped that dress carefully in acid-free tissue, tucked it into a storage box, and placed it on the top shelf of my closet. I never thought I'd take it out, until I got engaged. It wasn't that I wanted to wear it. The style was too vintage for me. But I thought maybe we could use the lace from the sleeves to wrap around my bouquet, or sew part of it into my dress lining as my something old. Something from her, with me on the biggest day of my life. My best friend and maid of honor, Katie, was helping me go through wedding stuff one Saturday afternoon. Sunlight filtered through the curtains in my apartment, casting golden patches across the floor as we sat surrounded by swatches of fabric, bridal magazines, and half-sipped cups of coffee. "Hey," I said, getting up from the couch. "I want to show you something." Katie looked up from a page she was dog-earing. "What?" "My mom's dress. I think I want to use part of it in the wedding." Her eyes lit up. "Oh, that's so sweet, Liv. Let's see it." I pulled a chair over to reach the closet shelf and carefully brought the box down. Katie watched with quiet interest as I placed it on the coffee table and lifted the lid. Even folded, the dress carried a weight beyond its physical one. I unfolded it gently, letting the lace sleeves drape over my lap. Katie gasped. "Oh, wow, that's beautiful." "I know," I whispered, running a hand over the delicate beadwork. She was so proud of this dress. Katie leaned in, touching the hem lightly. "The lace is amazing. You could totally use this for the bouquet wrap, or maybe even around your veil." She started lifting the fabric to get a better look at the details. I didn't think anything of it until she said, "Oh, hold on, I think there's something stuck here." And that's when it happened. I heard the rip before I saw it, a sound so soft yet so wrong that my heart dropped straight to my stomach. Katie froze. Her eyes went wide. "Oh my God!" I looked down, and the sleeve, the one I just traced with my fingers, it was torn clean off. The old fabric, so delicate, had given way under the slightest pull. I didn't speak. I couldn't. My breath caught in my throat like a lump of glass. I didn't mean to," Katie stammered. "It was stuck on something. I didn't pull hard, I swear." Still, I said nothing. The world had narrowed into the rip, the sudden wound in the dress, in my memory, in my chest. "I'm so sorry, Liv," she whispered. "I didn't know the fabric was that fragile." "It's okay," I heard myself say, though my voice was hollow. But it wasn't okay, not even close. Katie looked devastated. "I'll get it fixed," she said quickly. "There's this textile restoration place. It's not that simple," I said. "It's not just a dress." She lowered her eyes. "I know." But she didn't. How could she? I gently refolded the gown, my fingers trembling, and placed it back into the box. I returned it to the closet shelf, closing the door as if shutting away a part of me that had cracked open. The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur. Katie tried to lighten the mood, switching topics, showing me pictures of bridesmaid dresses, but my smile didn't quite reach my eyes. She left earlier than planned, probably sensing that I needed space. That night, I sat alone in my living room, the apartment dark except for the street lamp glow filtering through the window. I opened the closet again and pulled the box down one more time. I didn't cry. I just stared at the torn seam as if willing it to repair itself. 1,000 memories flooded me. Mom twirling in the dress for me during dress-up days, the way she used to laugh when I wrapped it around me like a princess cape, the way she told me, "It's just a dress, baby. It's the love that matters." And yet now I felt like I'd lost her all over again. Katie didn't give up. She sent me a text the next morning apologizing again, but I didn't answer. Then she emailed me pictures of fabric specialists, vintage restorers, even a museum conservator. Still, I stayed quiet. I wasn't angry, just numb. By the end of the week, she showed up at my door. "I found someone," she said before I could say anything. "She works with antique garments, museum-level stuff. I made an appointment for Saturday. Please come with me." I wanted to say no, but the look in her eyes, earnest, pleading, stopped me. I nodded. The place was a small studio tucked away in a quiet part of town. Inside, bolts of silk and lace lined the shelves, and a scent of lavender floated in the air. A woman named Mrs. Penrose greeted us. She was in her 70s, with sharp eyes and kind hands. I unfolded the dress for her, explaining what had happened. She examined it with the reverence of a surgeon. This is beautiful craftsmanship. 1960s, I'd say, handmade. Yes, I said. My grandmother helped sew it. She nodded. The tear is unfortunate, but not unfixable. I can reinforce the seam, reattach the lace. You'll always see the mend if you know where to look, but it will be stable. That gave me a small sliver of hope. I can also help you preserve a part of it if you'd like to carry something from the dress on your day. I glanced at Katie, who gave a small, hopeful smile. Yes, I said, I'd like that. In the weeks that followed, something softened between us again. Katie was more careful, more quiet, but always present. She sent me silly wedding memes, dropped off snacks, listened to my stress rants without judgment. She didn't bring up the dress again until I did. You know, I told her one afternoon as we were stuffing envelopes, I think Mom would have forgiven you in 5 seconds. Katie looked up. Yeah? She was never too attached to things. She cared more about people. Katie smiled. She raised you well, I shrugged. Still hurt, though. I know, she said. I'll never stop being sorry, but I'm glad you're letting part of it live on in your day. Me too. The morning of my wedding, a soft breeze lifted the sheer curtains in the bridal suite. My bouquet was waiting on the table, a cascade of white roses and lavender sprigs. Woven around the stems, just as we planned, was a strip of lace, elegant, pale, and full of history. As I held it, I thought of my mom. I thought of the dress, of the tear, of the repair, of how sometimes what's broken isn't lost, it's just changed. Katie came in, her eyes misty. Ready? Almost, I said. Thank you for everything. She didn't say anything, just reached out and squeezed my hand. We walked into the sunlight together, the lace fluttering gently in the breeze like a whisper of the past, carried forward into the day where love, like fabric, could be mended, reshaped, and made beautiful again.